As the year just kick-started 2022, key business leaders, among many other policymakers, met to discuss at length in as far as Zimbabwe's economic landscape is of concern, looking in terms of some of the set targets by the government in as far as economy is of concern, starting off with the economic growth projection of 5.5 percentage points that was made by the Minister of Finance and Economic Development in his 2022 national budget, obviously coming from 7.8 percentage points registered in 2021. The government is also projecting that there's going to be a decline in inflation that is going to be necessitated primarily by containment of broad money supply growth in the economy, and also an increase in terms of industrial activity, whereby the government is projecting that there's going to be increased capacity utilization in the local economy that is going to be spurred by various government interventions. So business leaders met to discuss in as far as the forecast and the outlook in as far as the local economy is of concern for the year 2022. This is our focus today on Inside Business with me, Chisango. With a fairly strong economic tone having been set in 2021, as reflected by various macroeconomic indicators such as increased export receipts for 2021, increased growth in diaspora remittances which totaled USD 1.4 billion, higher than expected growth in government revenue, bullish performance in key sectors such as the extractive sector. However, in 2021, the market was also beset with various macroeconomic constraints, such as growing inflation, which ended the year at 60.74% year-on-year, value erosion of the domestic currency as indicated by exchange rate movements, among many other challenges. Against this backdrop, business leaders met to discuss at length the challenges confronting the market, how to effectively address these bottlenecks for sustainable business growth so as to chart the business course for the year 2022.
We are going to end the year at current account surplus this year, just like last year, $1 billion. No recourse to central bank financing by government. We have been raising money from the market, and that is a welcome development because it does not create for money in the economy. So when the government borrows from the Reserve Bank, what it does, that increases money supply. No, so by not borrowing from us, we are able to contain the money supply. The next slide is looking at our monetary, what's outlook? What's our outlook? Very simple. We want to stay the course. We are staying the course. Period. What does that mean? We need to keep on going strongly to anger inflation. How do you want to do it? Those three tools will help us. Monetary conditions are expected to remain restrictive to deal with inflation. No increase of money supply. The bank will continue to, with the monetary targeting framework, to control monetary aggregates. That's our take. And the bank is committed to ensure that we continue with the foreign exchange auction system. Where it is a refinement, we will do so. Where we need to ensure that the system is improved, we also do so. On the monetary policy side, we're using the base money as a tool to control money supply, which is a reserve money target of 10%, which summarizes very well with the growth of the economy of 5.5%. We're using the NNCDs to stabilize money from the market. We're using startup reserves, and we are also using interest rates to ensure that we control money supply. The exchange rate, we conduct, as I said, use the auction system. Yes, many people have also advocate for interbank. But the weakness of interbank in this country is that the banks in this country, they don't trade among themselves, because of many sectors. And therefore, we think that for now, for your planning purposes, let's plan with using the auction system. Interest rates, as I said, we've got the bank policy rate, 60%, which we will review from time to time, taking into account of our requirements of controlling my supply. In the medium term, accommodation facility or policy of 40%, again, that we will review from time to time, as and when my MPC sees it necessary. Primary policy of the Reserve Bank is to continue to be price and financial system stability. That's our take home as a central bank. The secondary policy objective to grow the economy, employment, and to make competitiveness. So that's our primary focus area as a central bank. But once the prices are stable, investors can also come to this country, and the business yourself can thrive well, and consumers can also be able to save their money.
With high optimism of a modest 5.5% economic growth rate in 2022, increased growth in industrial activity remains key in providing a huge pillar for improved economic activity, as growth in industrial base has a positive multiplier effect to the broader macroeconomy. And there's need for a friendly business environment.
My ministry's role is to ensure that we create an environment where business can thrive. Professor Hawkins, this is not to say there are no challenges with government. Yes, there are, but what we have done is create a platform of dialogue whereby we listen to what the private sector is saying. We have taken note that there's policy inconsistency. We've also taken note that the ease of doing business has not been moving as smoothly as we would like it to move. But as the Minister of Industry and Commerce, what I'm here to say is we will continue to have dialogue with the private sector. We will continue to listen, and we will continue to work together to ensure that the ease of doing business that we're talking about is a reality. And that when we talk about Zimbabwe being open for business, it is also a reality. To that end, last year, we took a number of business executives to various international meetings, international trade fairs. And the outcome of that engagement with the private sector is that we realized that we do have a positive Zimbabwean story to tell, but because we're kind of fragmented and not working together, the story was not coming out clearly. But I'm pleased to say that together, the Zimbabwean story is having a positive image, even as I speak, at the Dubai Expo, which is taking place right now. As I conclude, I challenge all business leaders here to have an e-commerce platform for trading and ease of doing business. One positive outcome of COVID-19 is that we learned how to work from home. We also learned how to use the virtual platform. This is because the current business operating environment demands that we have innovation and also digitalization.
CEO Africa Roundtable is a high-level platform for CEOs and senior executives in both the public and private sector across the sectoral divide of African economies. It is designed to provide access to high-level conferences and events, working groups, trade missions, and private meetings, connections through business linkages, networking and smart partnerships, insights through solution-focused dialogue, advocacy, customized advisory services, information bulletins, e-communications, and regular updates. Be part of the growing Pan-African network of CEOs. Join CEO Africa Roundtable now. For more details, visit www.ceoart.org or send an inquiry to info@ceoart.org or call 0242 746 476 now. CEO Africa Roundtable, championing economic development across Africa.
The business meeting was also heated up with a question and answer session where most questions posed by the delegates were centered on currency, foreign exchange auction system, as well as the exchange rate movements. And in response to some of these monetary-related questions, the Reserve Bank governor indicated that there is need to have confidence in our domestic currency. And he also made it clear that the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe is continuing with the foreign exchange auction system.
We need to have confidence in our own selves. We need to believe in ourselves. We need to believe in our own currency. You need to believe that if you want to export, you can't incentivize an exporter when you are also exporting, when you are also using the raw currency as your own foreign currency, as your own currency. The myth that the economy was doing well during one-to-one, it needs to be interrogated because this economy could not grow. So there was a stability, yes, in terms of stable prices, but it did not tend to become to grow. Did not by that time. When you check on the statistics, we're in a deflation environment all the time up until February 2017. We're in deflation.
Okay.
So if this is very, very important because we are the one that are supposed to take the message from this house, this discussion to make it policy, not to Tony.
Okay.
Tony can make this issue, which is very good contribution, we should take on board and address them in the monetary policy statements and government.
Okay, I concede. Three points made. Yeah. Let's go to the fourth one.
Then the fourth one, re-engagement. Re-engagement is a two-way process. You can't, even if you go to someone's house and ask for salt, if the person doesn't want to give you salt, he won't give you salt. He will say, I don't have it. So let's be fair to ourselves and fair to the country. And just say that there are geopolitical considerations, constraints that we face in the country. We love to engage with everyone in this country, this world. But it's a two process. You know what? I was championing the re-engagement process 2015 when we went to Lima, Peru. We came up with a very good re-engagement process of trying to ensure that we do engage. But you know what? It ended up being what? That's something in the air is more like a pie sky. I mean, there's nothing which came out. Mirage. What came was a mirage. We put all our effort, and then we realize, as I'm doing today, that we are by ourselves Zimbabweans. But there's no one, Nigel, who is going to do Zimbabwe for ourselves. In fact, we are so proud that the companies which minister here oversee, they're doing well. The CEOs are here, they will speak for themselves. We have gone to the industry. Let's go a spade here. If you go to Delta today, for example, the 100% capacity utilization, their beer is being bought. Go to Nestle, go to Unilever, go to the SMEs here. We want to talk with things that are practical, things that are very...
Fair point, John, fair point. Domestic manufacturing has grown. The stats, the numbers don't lie. It's the sustainability in terms of the policies to benefit the poor as well. I think that's the point that Professor Tony was making.
I give to him. See, we start by growing, and then the trickle-down effect comes in. You can't start by having an economy. We need a common first to grow the company, and then trickle-down comes first. Employment comes now. You can't start by having trickle-down of an economy. Even China itself, even America itself. There are also people who are poor in America go to Harlem City.
So in other words, it's a process.
It's a process. That's why I say
okay.
We are starting from make sure that the economy grows.
Okay.
Wait, Nigel, when the economy grows, when the company grows, and then we can employ more people. Look at maize. We said where is 2.8. I mean, common sense. The GMB bought 1.2 million tons, which are there, which become paid for $48 billion, Zim dollars. Where is the other 1.6? Come on, no, it's there in the people keep their own what? Harvest.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, every common sense knows that. Tony, those people who say they're poor, they keep their maize. I grew myself in the rural areas. I've got a very strong rural values. Well, after growing our maize, we'll keep a ton for ourselves. That the 500 will sell. So, but see, maybe you don't know yourself being white. Being a black, I know that. So after
that people was sucked out of somebody's stomach.
no, so for you to give him in the situation that to the people the wrong impression that the maize is nowhere to be found. You know what? It's unfortunate though. It's there, the maize, we know where it is. Some of us who are poor citizen farmers, we know that it is, we keep this for our workers. And we sell what the surplus. Just like interest and just like money. Thank you very much.
Thanks, John. Let's move on to Minister Sekai Nzenza. Minister.
Thank you, Nigel. I don't know where this perception that we might have squandered the opportunity to re-engage. We haven't. And I can give you facts. Last year, we made a lot of business investment meetings from Russia to Turkey to Dubai, different countries. What is missing is the positive story that needs to be told. And unfortunately, the negative story is coming from those who live in Zimbabwe, who know the positive story, but are not telling it outside. What is also happening is when something negative comes out, when it comes out from Professor Hawkins, it makes front page news. And that is not the story of re-engagement. Our challenge is we must tell the true story of Zimbabwe within the re-engagement arena. I've answered you, but let me just give a few comments. The Governor, Dr. Mongunja, said, Tiriparwendo, Tony, we're on a journey. But when we're on a journey, we must look at where we came from. Let's look at the mistakes that were made when Professor Hawkins was on the board of the Reserve Bank. What mistakes did you learn from there? And what can we use as lessons learned from the mistakes that were made during your time? And secondly, we accept criticism as a government. We accept constructive criticism. But we would also want to have a platform of dialogue where we as Zimbabweans learn to rebuild our country rather than simply speak negatively, as if all the gains that have been made by the president have come to nothing. The governor spoke about companies that are doing very well. As he said, go to Varun Beverages, go to Delta Beverages, go to Arnold Biscuits, go to St. Goldman, go to Twine and Cottage. I've got a whole list, Professor Hawkins, where we've got increased productivity, increased employment. That is important to note, rather than simply paint Zimbabwe as not moving at all. You mentioned the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. Yes, I take your point on board. But what is really important is that the Africa Continental Free Trade Area is going to be the largest trade agreement in the world. The EU took 70 years to get trade working well. We've only just started. And we've started by engaging the Secretary General of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. We are already in process in looking at what is it that Zimbabwe can produce competitively, meeting the standards to be able to trade within the region. This is no platform for me to talk extensively about Africa Continental Free Trade Area. Now, in closing, Professor Hawkins, I think it's also important to note the impact of sanctions. And also to say Zimbabwe is friends to everyone. It's not an enemy to anyone. Thank you.
CEO Africa Roundtable is a high-level platform for CEOs and senior executives in both the public and private sector across the sectoral divide of African economies. It is designed to provide access to high-level conferences and events, working groups, trade missions, and private meetings, connections through business linkages, networking and smart partnerships, insights through solution-focused dialogue, advocacy, customized advisory services, information bulletins, e-communications, and regular updates. Be part of the growing Pan-African network of CEOs. Join CEO Africa Roundtable now. For more details, visit www.ceoart.org or send an inquiry to info@ceoart.org or call 0242 746 476 now. CEO Africa Roundtable, championing economic development across Africa.